On Global TV News Prime, Tinubu gets bill proposing return to regional government Friday. Federal government warns of mass sacking as Labour disowns agreement. World Bank expressed doubt over Central Bank of Nigeria's ability to curb inflation through rate hikes. Nigeria records 1,141 cholera cases, state death in 6 months. On the foreign scene, the European Union fines Hungary 200 million euros for breaching asylum laws. In sports, Roma ready to pay Atletico's 35 million euros demand for Omeridian. Hello and welcome to all of viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime here on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital. Hamid and Michael. President Bola Tinubu will on Friday receive a draft bill seeking a return to a regional system of government for Nigeria. The proposed legislation, authored by chieftain of the Yoruba Cultural Association, Afinifere Akin, and the title, A Bill for an Act to Substitute the Annexure to Decree 24 of 1999 with new governance model for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, seeks, among others, new extant laws to be cited as the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, New Governance Model for Nigeria Act 2024. It had been reported last week that the said bill was disowned by the House of Representatives, whose spokesperson, Akin Rotimi, and the Chairman Committee on Rules and Business have not been listed for deliberation in the ongoing moves to review the 1999 Constitution as amended. Alafo, who also represent the Coalition of Indigenous Ethnic Nationalities, stated that the organization is proposing the division of the country into 8 geopolitical regions with approximate interim boundaries. The federal government has made an appeal to the organized labor to consider the broader economic implication of its push for what the government considers an unrealistic higher national minimum wage. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris handed down the admonition and stated that the 250,000 minimum wage demanded by labor could undermine the economy. A situation is said may lead to mass retrenchment of workers and jeopardize the welfare of Nigerians. However, the labor unions have refuted President Bola Tinubu's claims during his Democracy Day broadcast that an agreement had been reached on the new national minimum wage. The Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the suit filed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fahimi on behalf of the federal government against the 36 state governors of the Federation. The suit is seeking full autonomy for the 774 local governments in the country. In the suit, the federal government wants the Apex Court to enforce the autonomy of the local government, among other things, stopping state governors from appointing caretaker committees to administer local government in their respective state. Down to Kano, as the High Court has ruled that it has jurisdiction to hear the human rights violation case filed by the dethroned Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, and the senior councillor Aminu Dangoni, following the reinstatement of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II. The court issued an ex parte order preventing Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano from reinstating Sanusi until a substantive suit against the reinstatement is resolved. All parties were instructed to maintain the status quo until the suit filed by the Sakin Dawaki Baba and Aminu Baba is determined. Governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, says the banditry will become history in his state if he had control of the security outfit in the country. The governor lamented that the state has become the epicenter of kidnapping, cattle rustling, and other activities of bandits in the country. Lawal said as a governor, he understands the problem of banditry in his state and how to address the menace. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has warned the public of the increasing trend of cholera cases across the country as the rainy season intensifies. The center, in a statement signed by its Director General, Dr. Jide Idris, said from January 1st to June 11th, 2024, a total of 1,141 suspected, 65 confirmed cases of cholera, with 30 deaths had been reported from 96 local government areas in the 30 states. The center noted that the 10 states that contributed 90 to the burden of cholera include Bayelsa, Zamfara, Abia, Cross River, Bauchi, Delta, Katsina, Imo, Nasarawa, and Lagos. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has intensified security measures ahead of the Eid celebrations in the Federal Capital Territory. The The commandant of the Capital Territory, called Dr. Olusola Odomosu, announced the deployment of 5,112 personnel across the state to safeguard residents and visitors during the festive period. The deployment spans all 6 area councils, the city center, and other crucial locations vulnerable to criminal activities. The Federal Capital Territory Command of the Nigeria Police has paraded a notorious kidnapper who has been on its wanted list alongside 13 suspects involved in the kidnapping, a gun running, car theft, and other heinous crimes in Abuja. The Command's Commissioner Bennett Iwe says the arrest was made based on credible intelligence gathering. In the meantime, Kano State Police Command has banned Dubai activities during the forthcoming Eid celebrations in the state. A statement issued by the State Commissioner of Police, Usani Gumel, noted that the ban became necessary to sustain the peace by the police command in conjunction with all relevant security stakeholders. He, however, advised worshippers to conduct their normal Eid prayers at the various designated prayer ground, as was traditionally done in the past. The Armed Forces of Nigeria has disclosed that terrorists and bandits have killed 9 soldiers and 7 other security personnel in Zamfara State during operations since the beginning of June 2024. Director of Defense Media Operations Major General Edward Baba made these known while keeping journalists abreast with the operational activities of the Nigerian military in Abuja. Our correspondent Kikulemo Okere completes the story.
The Director of Defense Media Operations, who expressed sadness over the security personnel, says they were killed in the fight against the menace of kidnapping and banditry in Zamfara State. He noted that the military is conducting several operations to eliminate the terrorists in Zamfara State, whom Governor has acknowledged to be the epicenter of banditry in the northwest.
Indeed, I would say winning the war without the support of the Governor is even more impossible. It must be noted that despite the state being the epicenter of kidnapping, according to his words, the state has no internal security platform for security forces to coordinate operations.
During the week under review, the director says troops neutralized 197 and arrested 310 persons. Troops also arrested 22 perpetrators of oil theft and rescued 251 kidnapped hostages.
And 28,360 liters of stolen crude oil, 143,450 liters of illegally refined AGO, and 1,100 liters of DPK, and over 18,000 liters of PNS in the course of the week.
The Military High Command reiterated its commitment to continue to work tirelessly to restore safety and security across the nation. Kikulemo Okere, Global Television News.
Live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Star Times Channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now shown on the screen. When this time returns, U.S. President Biden and Ukraine President Zelensky to hold top G7 summit. These and other top stories coming right after this break. To stay with us.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on Global Television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Hello, children. Gather round, let me tell you a story.
Do you know that stories have a way of captivating the minds of children, bringing fun and imagination to teach them morals? Join Sharon Ajay as she takes you to explore the thrilling and exciting world of storytelling.
I'll be sharing with you our next interesting story.
Tune in every Saturday on Global Television, time 5:30 p.m.
Is the desk on Global Television.
Welcome to Bayes University, Abuja, Nigeria, with a legacy of excellence and a vision for nurturing future leaders. Bayes University is in a league of its own. We're all about our people, processes, and technology.
Bayes is one of the highly rated universities in Nigeria in terms of product quality standards.
We don't just produce graduates, but groom people into employers of labor.
And it has made us understand that learning is all about three things. We learn, we unlearn, and we relearn.
Bayes University Hospital offers a range of specialized services equipped with the latest technology, manned by a team of trusted professionals. And now, our vision extends beyond our walls with the Baba Ahmed University in Kano following our lead. Join us at Bayes University and invest in your future today.
Bayes University is the institution that you will get the best value for money education in Nigeria.
Bayes University. Learn to live.
All right, welcome back on the foreign scene. United States President Joe Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be at the G7 summit in Italy and are expected to hold a press conference later today. Top of the agenda is the United States proposal to raise $50 billion a year from Ukraine by using frozen Russian assets. It is hoped that if passed, the plan will give cash-starved and war-weary Ukraine another vital lifetime. The European Union's top court has fined Hungary 200 million euros, an equivalent of $216 million, and imposed a daily €1 million penalty for failing to follow the bloc's asylum laws and illegally deporting migrants. The European Court of Justice said the fine and penalty are because authorities in the border space are deliberately evading compliance with the European Union laws, despite a 2020 ruling that it must uphold international procedures for asylum seekers. The United States Supreme Court has rejected a bid to restrict an abortion bill widely used in the United States to terminate pregnancies. The court, in an unanimous opinion, said the anti-abortion groups and physicians challenging the medication at the Miss Princeton's lacked illegal standing to bring the case. The Miss Princeton's case was the first significant abortion case heard by the conservative-nominated Supreme Court since it overturned their previously long-held constitutional right to abortion 2 years ago. Ukraine's President Zelensky says he expects important decisions to be made at the G7 summit of leaders from 7 of the world's richest nations. The White House says the G7 has made more good progress on the United States plan to use frozen Russian assets to raise $50 billion and 39 billion euros a year for his country. Zelensky, who will attend the summit, is also expected to sign new security deals with Japan and the United States. And now India's foreign ministry says at least 40 Indians are among the 49 people killed in a fire at a residential building in the Karachi city of Mangav. The fire broke out in a building where dozens of workers stayed. Authorities said many of the casualties are from the southern Indian states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Around 50 Indians have all been injured, confirmed. And now to business, the World Bank has expressed concerns that the Central Bank of Nigeria's monetary policy tightening may not effectively control inflation. In its Global Economic Prospect report released, that the institution noted one of the significant risks to Nigeria's economic growth is the failure of these tightening policies to rein in inflation. As the federal government of Nigeria is pursuing a $500 million loan from the World Bank aimed at the development of rural roads and agricultural marketing. This is confirmed from the final draft of resettlement policy framework from the Nigerian Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project scaled up by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. This fund is expected to address the dire need for better connectivity in rural Nigeria, where 92 million people currently lack access to good roads. As part of the effort to monetize Nigeria's vast natural gas resources, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has executed a project development agreement with the Gola LNG for the deployment of floating liquefied natural gas offshore in the Niger Delta. A statement by the company's spokesman, Olufemi Ogunseye, said the agreement was another major milestone achievement towards ensuring gas commercialization through the deployment of the Flink facility in Nigeria, in line with President Bola Tinubu's resolve to rapidly commercialize Nigeria's gas assets for the economic prosperity of the nation. Countries on the continent of Africa have been urged to take advantage of the advantage inherent in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement protocols to boost their economies and leapfrog food security in the sub-Saharan region. This is coming on the heels of revelation that Africa currently has the lowest inter-regional trade across the world, which represents only about 13% of the continent's global trade compared to Asia's 60%. And weeks after the federal government approved the special purpose vehicle to support the delivery of an additional 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable, it has begun talks with the World Bank Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, amid the disclosure while announcing the kick-off of Nigeria Week in Washington, in the United States. The project aims to increase Nigeria's fiber optic cable capacity from 35,000 kilometers to 125,000 kilometers, making it Africa's third longest terrestrial fiber optic backbone behind South Africa and Egypt. A report by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, says Nigeria's daily oil production has dipped further to 1.25 million barrels per day in the month of May. This is despite the claim by the federal government and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited that the country's oil production has risen to 1.7 barrels per day. OPEC data show that Nigeria lost 30,000 barrels per day as crude production dropped from 1.28 million barrels per day in April to 1.25 million barrels per day in the month of May. Meanwhile, reports by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics have shown that Nigeria's cost of petrol importation has continued to rise despite an almost 50% drop in the nation's consumption rate. In the first quarter of current year, 2.63 trillion naira was spent on the importation of premium motor spirit, which was 31.4% higher than the cost incurred for the same purpose in the last quarter of 2023. In the last 3 months of 2023, it is estimated that 1.81 trillion naira was expended in importing petrol. For more business updates, let's now join Kikuluma Okere.
Hello and welcome to Business Report on Prime News. Tax payment from manufacturers in Nigeria dropped to the lowest in 3 years in the first quarter of 2024, largely due to the tough operating environment which impacted their financial performance. According to the latest Company Income Tax (CIT) report by the National Bureau of Statistics, the tax revenue from both local and foreign manufacturing firms in Africa's most populous nation fell by 70.4% to 43.2 billion naira in the first quarter from 145.1 billion naira in the same period of last year. It also declined year-on-year by 31.4% from 62.9 billion naira. Within a year, some of the country's biggest manufacturers incurred big losses as their borrowing costs swelled on the back of rising interest rates and a further devaluation of the naira. Company income tax, which also known as corporate tax, is a levy the government imposes on the income of the company. The rate is aimed on 0% for companies with gross turnover of 25 million naira or less, 20% for companies with gross turnover greater than 25 million naira and less than 100 million naira, and 30% of the large company above 100 million naira. A breakdown of the NBS report revealed that out of 21 sector manufacturing activities which used to contribute to the most tax revenue recorded the lowest growth rate. This affected the aggregate CIT, which fell by 12.9% to 984.61 billion naira in the first quarter, from 1.13 trillion naira in the previous quarter. Last month, the Federal Inland Revenue Service disclosed that the service generated a total of 3.94 trillion naira in tax revenue in the first quarter. The performance, however, fell short of its quarterly revenue target of 4.8 trillion naira. Traditional buyers of Nigerian crude are going for cheaper options, leading to emergence of France as the country's leading customer. Top crude grade of Africa's biggest oil producers, Bonny Light, Francodos and Brass, have a reputation for being light in sulfur, a quality that has made them the darling of refinery in Europe and Asia. But the country's traditional big buyers from India to China are increasing their purchase of U.S. crude, Russian crude and Latin American oil because they see the Nigerian grades as relatively pricey, with traders reluctant to offload the country's cargoes. The development poses a risk to Nigeria, which relies on oil export for more than half of its total foreign exchange earnings. According to data gathered, India purchased 1.3 trillion naira of Nigerian crude oil in the first quarter of 2024, a decline from an average of 2 trillion naira purchased between 2018 and 2021. Buyers are increasingly turning to cheaper alternatives, raising concern for the country's revenue stream. Nigerian pension fund managers are renewing their push to be allowed to invest more abroad to shield their assets under management from the volatile naira. Assets in dollars terms dropped 55% on naira devaluation. The renewed push comes as pension assets in dollar terms have dropped by 54.6% over a 5-year period of $18 billion due to devaluation of naira. The pension asset declined to $15 billion at an exchange rate of 1,309 naira per dollar as of April 2024 from $33 billion at 306 naira per dollar in 2019. In naira terms, pension assets shows misleading growth, rising from 10.21 trillion naira at the end of December 2019 to 19.78 trillion naira at the end of April 2024, according to data from National Pension Commission. Kike Lomo Okewi, Global Television News.
And now to sports. The Professional Footballers Union of England and France took fever to court in Brazil to challenge the timetable unilaterally set by the world body, in particular its new club World Cup 2025. Players' unions have complained that the expanded Club World Cup, due to take place in the United States in June and July next year, is an unacceptable addition burden on players. The organizations believe that these decisions violate the right of players and their unions under European Union Charter of Fundamental Rights, while also potentially violating European Union competition law. A Malaysian international badly hurt in an acid attack in May broke down in tears as he pledged to return to football in a month of two. Selangor FC winger Faisal suffered 4-degree burns on his neck, shoulder, hands and chest in an attack at a shopping center outside Kuala Lumpur on May 5th. A popular 26-year-old spent 3 weeks in the hospitals and had multiple surgeries for the burns to his skin. Roma has made their priority to replace Romelu Lukaku ahead of next season. Lukaku's return to Chelsea prompted the seek to young replacement on the market. The Diet of Florence immediately focused on Imordions, who now appears to be the capital club first choice to strengthen the team's attack. The 20-year-old striker is set to make his return to Atletico Madrid after concluding his loan at Aves with 9 goals to his name. The Nigeria Cricket Federation has completed a 3-day special intervention program at different internally displaced persons camps in Maduguri, Borno State, where they introduced the game to children and adults in the camps. This comes after the Federation's president, Uyi Abatha, promised during the 2022 annual general meeting in Abuja to donate his allowances to the development of the game in the Northeast. Food items and relief materials were donated to the various internally displaced persons camps visited by the members of the Cricket family in the region. Now join our sports correspondent Anthony Mamadou for more updates on sports.
Hello sport fans, welcome to Sports News Update. Juventus have made a proposal worth around £40 million for Manchester United forward Mason Greenwood. United want to sell the 22-year-old this summer, and the £40 million figure is close to their valuation as they look to raise funds for Erik ten Hag's transfer kitty. It is not the opening offer, as talks have been underway for some time, but the Italian side are growing hopeful of reaching a conclusion if Greenwood also agrees. While discussions have reached an advanced stage, a deal is not considered imminent by United, as other interested parties are still coming to the table. Napoli have also inquired about the England international who was on loan to Getafe last season, where he scored 10 goals in 36 appearances. Juventus have just appointed Thiago Motta as their new head coach and are tweaking their squad. John Stones was isolating from his England teammates as medical staff attempted to prevent illness spreading through the camp on the eve of the European Championship. The Manchester City defender was the only player to miss training at their base as he battles a sickness bug, and he is now a doubt for Sunday's Group C opener against Serbia. Stones trained at an open session in Jena after overcoming an ankle knock and was expected to line up alongside Mark Guehi in Gelsenkirchen. However, Lewis Dunk is now on standby to come into the side, and he featured prominently as the team worked on defensive shape during yesterday's session. Vincent Kompany has identified the Liverpool defender as one of his key target at Bayern Munich this summer, according to reports. The ex-Manchester City captain's shock appointment as Bayern Munich's new manager was announced at the end of last month, with Kompany joining the Bundesliga giants just after suffering Premier League relegation with Burnley. Bayern, who were drawn to Kompany because of his impressive coaching philosophy, are set to undergo a major summer overhaul ahead of next season after failing to lift a single trophy last term, with Bayern Leverkusen winning an undefeated Bundesliga crown under Xavi Alonso. According to the Mirror, Kompany is keen to sign Liverpool and England star Joe Gomez this summer, with Bayern identifying defense as a key area for improvement. Real Madrid have inquired over possibility of signing Christian Romero. According to reports, the Champions League winners are looking to freshen up their squad as they look to continue building what, at least on paper, looks to be a team that can dominate for years to come. In defense, however, they are keen to add reinforcement with the likes of Captain Nako to depart this summer. He made 33 Premier League appearances for the club as they finished 5th in the Australians' first year in charge, and is assumed by many to be a leader in the defense, having lifted the World Cup in 2022 and being regarded as one of the best centre-backs in the world. However, it is possible he would be keen to play higher than Europa League football. The 26-year-old's current deal runs until 2027. Talking tennis, Rafa Nadal is set to miss Wimbledon to prepare for the Olympic Games, where he will team up with Carlos Alcaraz in the Dream Doubles partnership. The expected news was confirmed by Spain's Olympic team captain David Ferrer on Wednesday, with Nadal having said last month it would not be good for his body to switch surfaces from clay to grass. With Nadal expected to retire at some point this year, it appears his final match at Wimbledon will be a quarterfinal win over Taylor Fritz in 2022, following which he withdrew from the tournament because of an abdominal injury. Alcaraz, who will be making his Olympic debut, said last summer it would be a dream to play with Nadal in what is likely to be one of the final events of his career. Talking tennis, Wimbledon are set to announce an increase of more than 10% in prize money this week, with almost £50 million up for grabs at this summer's championship. The winners of the men's and ladies singles will bank more than £2.5 million for the first time, with even first-round losers earning more than £60,000 in the biggest prize pot ever offered by a Grand Slam. Wimbledon's prize fund will be worth around £4 million, more than the £45 million paid out by the French Open, with both winners set to receive £200,000 more than last year. The All England club, who run Wimbledon, slashed their prize money when the championship returned in 2021 following the COVID cancellation the previous year, but they are now paying out £10 million more than in 2019. Wimbledon's finances barely suffered as a result of the COVID due to the All England club's comprehensive insurance policy. They even offered £10 million in non-appearance money when the 2020 championship were cancelled, with all players who had been scheduled to take part in the singles receiving £25,000. And wrapping it up, talking boxing, Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund are in talks with multiple boxing stakeholders over a £4 billion deal to create a new league, potentially reshaping the competitive landscape of the sport. People familiar with the matter told Reuters that PIF is looking to invest in a joint venture with some of the sports stakeholders that would feature more boxing bouts, the people said, speaking on condition of anonymity. A handful of leading promoters, including Matchroom Boxing and Golden Boy Promotions, are involved in the discussion that could result in a deal valuing the new entity between $4 to $5 billion. One of the people said PIF wants to create a venture that would bring the main sports organizers together, in which it would take minority stake. And that's how we call it a wrap on the Sports News Update. I am Anthony Momodin.
As a wrap up Global TV News Prime, let's take a look at the top stories. President Tinubu to get bill proposing return to regional government on Friday. The federal government has warned of mass sacking as Labour disowns agreement. The World Bank has expressed doubt over Central Bank of Nigeria's ability to curb inflation through the rate hikes. At the foreign scene, European Union has fined Ukraine €200 million for breaching asylum laws. In sports, Roma have said it is ready to pay Atletico's €35 million demand for Omorodian. And that's a package on News Prime, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on our social media platform using Global TV NG and other those now showing the screen. I'm Adika Mike, for watching. See you again.